Okay, good morning students. Welcome to the physics class. Today we are going to discuss about the refraction at the spherical surfaces. You know, we already discussed about the refraction through the plane surface, like a refraction through the glass plate or refraction through the glass slab. Up to this title, we have discussed the refraction through the plane surface only. Further, we are going to discuss about the refraction through the curved surfaces or the spherical surfaces. Spherical surfaces means just like a glass bubble. It is one of the small part of the sphere that is known as a spherical surface. It means a sphere or a chinna part like a glass sphere, in which a small part of the glass sphere just like a bubble shape, and the surface is known as spherical surface. Look here. Consider spherical surface. Each spherical surface consists of two faces, 1 and 2, in which convex surface and concave surface we already discussed in the reflection title. This inner side is known as convex surface and outer is known as concave surface. So the spherical surface has two faces. One is a convex surface and another one is a concave surface. And you know very well about some basic definitions on the spherical mirror. Like P is a pole of the mirror. Here also P is a pole of the spherical surface. Exactly, it is a center point of the spherical surface. Next, center of the spherical surface. It is a point. It is a center of the spherical surface. Next, the distance between the center of curvature to the pole of the spherical surface is known as radius of curvature. Therefore, for this spherical surface, the radius of curvature is along the right hand side. Suppose consider this spherical surface or invert this spherical surface, the radius of curvature is towards left. And the center of curvature is also towards left, and this is the pole of the spherical surface. Suppose I am going to make one lens with the help of the two spherical surface like this. This is one spherical surface, this is another spherical surface. So the lens has two center of curvatures, two principal focus and one optical center. Okay, now come to the point. The spherical surface has the two faces. One is a convex, second one is a concave surfaces. Okay, next we are going to derive the equation for the refraction through the spherical surface. Okay, let us consider the spherical surface of refractive index. Refractive index n2 and the spherical surface separates two different media. The left hand side of the spherical surface is air. Okay, of refract index N1. You know very well, the center point of this spherical surface is known as pole of the spherical surface, and the center of curvature is denoted by C, and the line passing through the center of curvature to the pole of the mirror is known as principal axis, and the distance between the center of curvature and the pole of the mirror is known as radius of curvature. Let us consider one point object which is located on the principal axis beyond the pole of the spherical surface, or to the left side of the pole of the spherical surface, and consider the incident ray is incident at a point N. Incident at a point N on the spherical surface. Now, this incident ray undergoes refraction inside the spherical surface. You know very well about the light rays from the rarer medium, and it is entered into the denser medium. The path of the refracted ray bends towards the normal. Now, I am going to draw the normal line for the spherical surface at the point of incidence N. Okay, sir. For plane surface, we are able to draw the normal easily. But for spherical surface, how to draw the normal? Yes. To identify the normal at the point of incidence, if you draw the line, for example, if any object moves on a circular path, the direction of the motion of an object is always tangential to the circular path. So this is actual direction of the planetary motion. This is sun, this is planet. The direction of the motion of planet is tangential to the direction of the centripetal force. Am I right? So this is the direction of centripetal force. This is the direction of motion of the planet. So for any spherical surface or the curved surface, the line drawn towards the center of the circle is the perpendicular line or the normal line to the curvature or the spherical surface. Similarly, for the spherical surface, the normal line is passing through the center of curvature. So this is a normal to the surface. So all the normal lines on any point of the spherical surface meets at the center of curvature. So this is a normal to the point of incidence. Am I right? This is normal to the point of incidence. Now this is instant ray. After instant on the point N, it undergoes refraction. Actually, this light rays travel along this path. It undergoes refraction. The light rays bends towards the normal. So, so it bends towards the normal. And finally, it forms an image at a point I on the principal axis. Suppose the light rays from denser medium to the rarer medium, it moves away from the normal line. But here, rarer to denser, it moves away, it moves towards the normal line. So this is angle of incidence I. and this is a refracted ray. Because this is a normal line, so the light rays moves towards the normal line. So this is angle of refraction. Now I am going to derive the equation of the refraction through the spherical surface. With the help of the three angles, I am going to allot that. Here this angle is known as alpha, and this is beta, and this is gamma. Okay, now come to the point. According to Snell's law, the sine of angle of incidence, sine I divided by sine R is equal to sine I divided by sine R equal to the refractive index of the second medium N2 divided by N1. You know, for the refraction or the reflection, we are taking one assumption, that is, all the incident rays must be closer to the principal axis because they are the paraxial rays. With the help of the paraxial rays, we are able to derive some equations. So we are considering only the paraxial rays. The paraxial rays means the rays are very closer to the principal axis. Suppose this ray, this incident ray is closer to the principal axis. ரொம்ப close எடுத்துட்டோம்னு வெச்சுக்கோங்களேன். Then the angle of incidence I, angle of refraction R, alpha, beta, gamma, all are the become smaller. So for paraxial rays, the angle of incidence I, angle of refraction R are very small. For the smallest angle, the sin theta, you know, sin theta is approximately is taken as theta. So for paraxial rays, this equation becomes I by R equal to N2 by N1. Therefore, N1 I is equal to N2 R. Next, consider the triangles. Now I am going to consider three triangles. One is NOP. Suppose if you consider the paraxial rays, all the angles are very closer to the principal axis, then the arc of this line assumed to be a straight line. The number straight line are assumed to be. So consider triangle NOP and NCP and NIP. These are the three right angle triangles. The names are NOP, another right angle triangle NCP, next the triangle NIP. I already told the image, the object is located at the point O to the left side of the pole of the spherical surface, and the image produced by this object to the right side of the pole of the spherical surface. So this is the position of object, this is the position of image, and this is center of curvature. So for the triangle NOP, this is alpha. Therefore, I am going to find out tan alpha. You know very well about tan theta is equal to opposite side by adjacent side. Here the opposite side of this triangle is NP divided by the adjacent side of this triangle is PO. Similarly, for the second triangle, tan beta. For this triangle, here the alpha, here beta is here, so the opposite side is once again NP. Then adjacent side is PC. Here the adjacent side is right only as PC, not CP, because for the sign conventions, all the distance could be measured from the pole of the mirror. Therefore, you don't say CP, you say only PC. So the distance measured from the point P, therefore PC. Similarly, turn gamma is equal to NP divided by, for this triangle, opposite side is NP, adjacent side is PI. Okay, similarly, for smallest angle, alpha, beta, gamma are the smallest one, then tan theta is also approximately equal to theta. Similarly, sin theta. For smallest angle, tan theta is also approximately equal to theta because tan 0 equal to 0, sin 0 is also equal to 0. Therefore, we get for smallest angle alpha equal to NP divided by PO. Beta is equal to NP divided by PC, and gamma is equal to NP divided by PI. Are you understand? Okay. Next, I am going to explain the interior and the exterior angles of the triangles. Consider a triangle. Look here. Consider a triangle. It consists of each angles are A, B, and C. These are the interior angles. Suppose I am going to extend this line. Here one angle taken as alpha. Here alpha is the exterior angle for this triangle. And this exterior angle is equal to sum of the two interior angles like A and B except adjacent angles. அதாவது ஆல்பாவோட வேல்யூ எதுக்கு ஈக்குவலா இருக்குமா, உள்ள இருக்கிற ரெண்டு இன்டீரியர் ஆங்கிளோட அடிஷனல் ஈக்குவலா இருக்கும் எக்ஸப்ட் த அட்ஜசன்ட் ஆங்கிள். இதை தவிர்த்து சப்போஸ் ஐ அம் கோயிங் டு எக்ஸ்டெண்ட் திஸ் லைன், இதை நம்ம பீட்டான்னு எடுத்துக்கிட்டோம்னா the value of beta is equal to sum of the two interior angles B and C except A. Okay, so this is a rule. Similarly, I am going to apply this rule for the two triangles. One is O N C. Consider triangles ONC in the triangle. For this triangle, the interior angles are alpha and beta. Okay, the exterior angle is angle of incidence I. So for the triangle NOC, the exterior angle I is equal to sum of the two interior angles alpha and beta. Similarly, for the triangle NIC, for the triangle NIC, the exterior angle is NIC. In the triangle partner, what are the interior angles? One is R, second one is gamma. Image for this triangle, beta is the exterior angle. Am I right? So the exterior angle beta is equal to sum of the two interior angles R plus gamma. From this equation, R equal to beta minus gamma. Now substitute the value of I and R into the first equation. N1. So N1I, the value of I is alpha plus beta is equal to N2R. R is equal to beta minus gamma. So this is a new equation. Now I am going to substitute the value of alpha, beta, gamma into this equation. Alpha is equal to NP by PO, beta equal to NP by PC, and gamma equal to NP by Pi. Substitute all these values. So N1, what about alpha? NP by PO plus NP by beta PC is equal to N2 into beta minus gamma. Beta is NP by PC minus gamma. Gamma is NP by Pi. Okay. In this equation, the numerators are NP, 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 NP. Okay. So both sides are NP are cancelled. We get the relation N1 by PO plus N1 by PC equal to N2 by PC minus N2 by Pi. Now the unknown values are Pi, PO and PC. These are the distance measured from the diagram by using the sign conventions. Here O is the position of an object, I is the position of the image. So if you measure any distance from the pole of the mirror or pole of the spherical surface to the left is taken as negative. Suppose to the right taken as positive. So the value of PO is measured from the pole of the spherical surface to the left, and this is the position of an object. So the letter adopted for the position of an object is U. Here PO is the left hand side, therefore according to sign convention PO equal to minus U. And right. Next, what about PC? The distance P to the C is known as radius of curvature. It could be measured to the right side of the pole of the spherical surface is taken as positive. So PC is equal to R. Then what about PI? It is a position of an image denoted by V. It is also right side, therefore Pi equal to V. Then substitute these values into this equation. Okay, we get, look here, N1 by PO. So N1 by PO is equal to minus U plus N1 by PC. PC is equal to R. Is equal to N2 by PC is R minus N2 by Pi is V. Okay, now N2 come to this side, it becomes a negative, therefore I am going to take in the common term R into the bracket out, so 1 by R to the left side N1. Suppose this term to the left side it becomes negative, so minus N2, and this negative term goes to opposite side becomes a plus, is equal to N1 by U minus N2 by V. Okay, so this is the equation of refraction through the spherical surface, in which N1 is a refractive index of the air medium. You know very well about N1 is equal to 1 because the refractive index of the air medium equal to 1. If N1 equal to 1, then N2 is equal to taken as N. Then modify this equation as 1 by U minus N by V is equal to 1 by R into N1 is taken as 1, therefore 1 minus N. Are you understand, students? So these are the equations of refraction through the spherical surface.